Hello and welcome to the morning update live on NTN. We are coming to you live from the Parliament building in downtown Castries, and that is because we will see a sitting of the House of Assembly today, Tuesday, the 24th of November 2020. But first, we'd like to welcome you. Thank you for joining for today's programming. If you're watching on air online, our Facebook, YouTube channel, also our YouTube channel as well as our cable channel 122. Welcome to you. Residents of St. Lucia, St. Lucians living in the diaspora who have joined the broadcast to keep abreast as to what's happening in your home island, welcome to you as well. As I mentioned, the sitting of the House of Assembly is scheduled for today, Tuesday, November 24th, 2020, with papers to be laid by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service, the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labour, the Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industry, Enterprise Development and Consumer Affairs, and the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Physical Planning, Natural Resources and Cooperatives. This morning we have motions down for consideration. They include the authorization by the Parliament for the Attorney General to make an order to declare that the 2017 the 2017 supplement to the revised edition of the laws of St. Lucia, as specified in the order, shall come into force on such date as may be appointed by such order as an authoritative version of the law. Also, that Parliament authorizes the Minister for Finance to obtain financing from the Exim-Import Bank of Taiwan for the purpose of financing the COVID-19 response project. The following bills are down for consideration: the Public Finance Management Bill, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, and the Credit Reporting Bill. And please take note, this is the second reading of these pieces of legislation. Today's sitting is scheduled to commence at 10 a.m. And in the meantime, we will be bringing you some news for the past 24-hour cycle, developments from the government of St. Lucia. We've so far seen in the last 24 hours, St. Lucia recording 3 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases diagnosed in country to 223. Case number 221 is a 32-year-old female from the Suffolk district. Case number 222 is a 42-year-old female from the Castries district. And case number 223 is a 44-year-old from the Grosley district. And just referring to the press release received from the Department of Health and Wellness, we've gotten the indication that all of these individuals are being assessed and tested for COVID-19. All of these individuals, after being tested for COVID-19, were placed in quarantine by health practitioners while awaiting their test results. At this point, the contact tracing team has not been able to establish an epidemiological link for these 3 cases to any of the prior cases, and investigations are currently ongoing. As per protocol, arrangements have been made to place the confirmed cases into care. The new total number of active cases currently in country stands at 115. So that's the number of individuals who are receiving care at this point in time within the sphere of the respiratory hospital. At present, all of the active cases are stable and doing well. To date, St. Lucia has recorded a total of 106 recoveries in country. So while we're registering new cases of COVID-19, we're also registering recoveries of COVID-19 as well. So that rate is comforting to a degree. We're seeing that these individuals are being treated in a timely fashion, and they're re-entering our society. The Ministry of Health is reminding the public that anyone who has been tested for COVID-19 is placed in quarantine while awaiting their test result. And during this time, these individuals are to remain at home until they have been contacted by a health care practitioner with their test results. And during this time, these individuals are to remain at home until they have been contacted by a healthcare practitioner with their result. These individuals should not leave home for work or to attend to personal matters, and no one should be visiting their homes either. I continue to remind the general public of the protocols that stand as amended, taking effect 16th November, that's last week Monday, to limit the amount of social interaction. It is unnecessary at this time, especially as the as the officials are trying to get a clamp on the COVID-19 cases. These latest 3 cases, no epidemiological links being made to determine whether they were connected to any of the prior confirmed cases. So that is concerning to some degree. We know that we've had clusters of cases here on island, and the effort on the part of the authorities is to try to manage it and try to contain it as soon as possible. And we hope that everyone is playing their part, not only abiding by the existing protocols, but also especially the amended ones as it pertains to social activity. At this point in time, no parties, no festivities are allowed right now, and we are calling on everyone to comply and adhere to these protocols. If you are already, kudos to you. We really do appreciate the effort towards the safety of the population at this time. Adhere to these protocols, and even the basics of the washing of the hands with soap and water frequently, and when you're not near a faucet, you can use hand sanitizer, a lot of it at this point in time, because we're trying to keep COVID-19 at bay as much as possible. The use of the mask when you are out in public, it is very important, and observing the 6-foot distance. We cannot re-emphasize this enough. It is very important. It is not expensive to wear a mask. It is not expensive to observe a 6-foot distance. It is not expensive to wash your hands with soap and water frequently, and to use hand sanitizer as often as you can. These are very cheap ways of keeping viral infection at bay at this time. We need to get a clamp down on COVID-19. Do it for your family. Do it for your mother. Do it for your elderly relatives, your young children. We're all in this together, and we all need to have a coordinated effort toward containing COVID-19. Prior to the cases 221 to 223, we did have a few cases registered earlier. That was on the weekend, 16 cases on the weekend, as at Sunday, November 22nd. And these individuals come from varying communities. That's Canries, Castries, Babonneau, Groseilliers, and again, we cannot begin to emphasize enough the use and the adherence to the protocols right now, because you don't know who you're sitting on the bus next to. You don't know if someone at your office may have come into contact with someone who is infected. We need to pretend that COVID-19 is all around us and put on the whole armor of the protocols to protect ourselves from this viral infection. Continuing this morning, we have the Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Natural Resources and Cooperatives, Honorable Ezekiel Joseph, stating that efforts at diversifying the agricultural industry include creating a vibrant apiculture sector that incorporates the value-added chain of agro-processing. Honorable Joseph shared the plan as the Global Environmental Facility, GEF, pledged support towards these efforts. The GEF Small Grants Program, UNDP, at the opening ceremony of its 2020-2021 Knowledge Fair and UE Open Campus Country Conference, disclosed that its focus for the next 4 years would be geared towards upscaling in 3 key areas. One such area is that of apiculture. The goal is to increase production to include value-added products and gain economies of scale. The GEF, between October 2012 and December 2019, invested in 12 apiculture projects to the tune of 1.22 million EC dollars in St. Lucia. Agriculture Minister Honorable Joseph explained the government's intention to make apiculture a full-fledged industry. He noted, however, that it is not without its challenges. We go to our first clip of the morning from Honorable Ezekiel Joseph.
Apiculture in St. Lucia has tremendous potential, and it has been reported that the demand for products is greater than supply. In addition to the work that has been done with the assistance from the Small Grant Program, my government has retrofitted a sector of the Inland Reception and Distribution Center, IRDC, in Lakai, Dennery, and purchased equipment for that facility. This would assist with the processing and packaging of honey, and of course, this is going to result in a sustainable supply and consistency in quality. There are still many challenges in this subsector. For example, honey production is seasonal. The size of our production units are very small. The level of fragmentation within the sector is affecting it, and there is a need for improved technology. Managing our pests and disease is critical, and of course, managing the impact of climate change must be given serious consideration.
Richard Matthias, president of the Ionola Apiculture Collective, highlighted the variety of products that can be produced from apiculture. Matthias indicated that some products include beeswax for use in cosmetics, scented candles, propolis, and more, which he explained can fetch a hefty price on the international market. And if you would have remembered, Mr. Matthias did sit down with us on the morning update live on NTN, speaking to us on the benefits of apiculture, the strides that apiculture has made in St. Lucia.
This 4 grams of apitoxin, raw apitoxin, unprocessed, is worth about 380 EC dollars. All right. If we process it, we'll probably be looking at about 150 US dollars per gram. All right, and that's just took me 1 hour to collect, well, just over an hour to collect this. So we are now diversified our portfolio of products so that we are no longer reliant on this product. So if there is no honey, we probably make more money selling all these other products than depriving the bees of their food which they store for them to get them through the season.
We also had the Minister for Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development present for the Knowledge Fair. Honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert encouraged St. Lucians to lead the charge in developing innovations for a sustainable future.
So our nation needs to assume its rightful place and do more to inform the science of today, which is an important precursor to tomorrow's science and the outputs therefrom, creating new bodies of knowledge. Our curiosity and actions need to provoke answers to the questions that beset us. But where are the scientists, inventors, and innovators of today? Where are the novel and groundbreaking luminaries of St. Lucia leading the way in all of the sciences? They are here in this room and following on social media. And therefore, today we set a sail on a 5-month journey of deliberate actions for research and innovation.
That was the Honorable Dr. Gail Rigobert. The opening ceremony for the Knowledge Fair was held on Sunday, 22nd November 2020. Just want to remind you that we're coming to you live from the Parliament Building in downtown Castries for a sitting of the House of Assembly scheduled for today, November the 24th, 2020, with papers to be laid by several government ministers, including the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Growth, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service. We have also motions for consideration, including the authorization by Parliament for the Attorney General to make an order to declare that the 2017 supplement to the revised edition of the Laws of St. Lucia as specified in the order, shall come into force on such date as may be appointed by such order as an authoritative version of the law. Also, that Parliament authorizes the Minister of Finance to obtain financing from the Export-Import Exim Bank of Taiwan for the purpose of financing the COVID-19 response project. The following bills are down for consideration: the Public Finance Management, Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment, and the Credit Reporting Bill. And just to confirm, these are the second readings of the bills to be presented by the Honorable Prime Minister today for this sitting. Do stay with us. We are due for a break. When we come back, we take a look at some more news for the 24-hour cycle, and stand by for the commencement of the parliamentary proceedings today.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. We're going to take a look back at a very important development happening on Friday. That was the 20th of November 2020. I know I said 24 hours, but this is, significant. The government of St. Lucia took a huge step in its efforts to build resilience amid the COVID-19 pandemic with the implementation of a grant and loan facility to assist businesses here in St. Lucia. The measure forms part of the Economic Recovery and Resilience Plan announced by the Prime Minister, Honorable Alan Shastney. The Climate Adaptation Financing Facility, CAF, is a funding mechanism within the St. Lucia Development Bank, SLDB, originally designed to offer climate change adaptation loans, which are affordable, equitable across socioeconomic and gendered lines, and provide incentives for preemptive vulnerability reduction. Taking into consideration the COVID-19 pandemic and its effects on the business sector, the CAF has been relaunched to include a business recovery program. According to the Managing Director at SLDB, Mr. Vincent Boland, the facility in its new form will lend aid to micro, small, and medium enterprises that have been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The intention is for us to be able to assist persons who have been impacted by COVID. During the past couple of weeks, we have attended a number of Zoom meetings, I presume most persons have. And one that we attended was Finance in Common, where all of the development banks in the world were represented. And at that meeting, it was indicated that the development banks don't have resources to make up for lost revenue for everyone. But this particular program is to provide a level of support for persons who have been impacted. It will focus on self-employed persons who are registered. Part of the criteria is that you must be registered with an association or an organization for us to be able to track your progress. And the intention is for us to identify that you have at least been impacted by a 30% reduction in your overall turnover in your business.
The enterprises will have access to loans ranging from $25,000 to $200,000. These loans will encompass a mix of loan and grant financing. The terms and conditions of the loan will vary based on the enterprise, and as such, determinations will be made on a case-by-case basis. Vikram Khatri is the World Bank's Program Leader for Sustainable Development and Infrastructure in the Caribbean.
The business recovery program expands the type of risk that the CAF can address to include the pandemic and its impact, while still maintaining the CAF primary focus on climate adaptation and disaster risk reduction. Along with the possibility of combining grants with loans to help businesses through the liquidity crunch that so many are experiencing, the government and SLDB will be providing all borrowers with free training on business continuity and disaster preparedness planning to help them better reduce their vulnerability to future shocks. SLDB will also assist businesses in joining the Chamber of Commerce and other business associations that support and advocate for businesses of all sizes and sectors. The survival of St. Lucia small businesses is critical for the country's economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. It is clearly stated in the government's COVID-19 economic recovery and resilience plan. And we believe that the new CAF business recovery program will make a major contribution to the goal articulated in the plan.
The CAF offers accessible loans to firms, community groups, and households for investments and/or livelihood activities that support climate adaptation or disaster vulnerability reduction. So that's that for that story on the effort of the government taking a huge significant step in efforts to build resilience amid the COVID-19 pandemic with the launch of the climate adaptation financing facility. We do have some bulletin information for our next story coming from the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development, and I will read the press release verbatim. It's regarding kindergarten registration for 2021-2022 moving online. The Department of Education wishes to inform parents and guardians that kindergarten registration for the academic year 2021-2022 for schools in the Castries Basin will be available online at kregistration.education.gov.lc. This website can be easily accessed via a mobile phone, computer, or a tablet. Registration will be open from November 30th to December 18th, 2020 for the following schools: Anglican Infant, Vidbute Primary, St. Aloysius RC Boys Infant, Ave Maria Girls Infant, Camille Henry Memorial, Carmen Rene Memorial, Gordon and Walcott Memorial, Methodist, and Mondadome Primary. Applicants will be required to select a first, second, and third option in the event their school of choice is oversubscribed. In keeping with the COVID-19 protocols, parents and guardians are encouraged to use the online platform. However, for households without digital access, provisions will be made to drop off documents during the period December 7th to 11th, 2020. A subsequent announcement will be made with the specific details for this process. Parents and guardians are asked to prepare photocopies of all required documents ahead of time. Applicants registering online should scan and upload the documents as instructed on the website. A valid email address is required for login, confirmation of registration, and future communication in the process. The following documents are required for registration. So you need your child's birth certificate, immunization certificate or health card with completed 3.5 or 5-year development assessment as applicable, 2 passport size photos, job letter if applying based on workplace salary details are not needed, and parents' utility bill for proof of residence if applying based on where you live. All applicants will be granted equal opportunity regardless of the registration method used. For further information or clarification, you can call the number 468-3221 or WhatsApp the number 720-3252. The Department of Education thanks everyone for their kind cooperation and encourages everyone to continue observing the COVID-19 protocols. So that update there coming from the Ministry of Education on how you can register for your child or ward's kindergarten class for 2021-2022, that academic year. You can go onto the website to begin this registration. The website is kregistration.education.gov.lc. So please take note of that. And Finally, in our news, we have just to coincide with this recent bulletin from the Ministry of Education, education officials are continuing to assess the impact of COVID-19 on the sector. Chief Education Officer Dr. Fiona Philip Meyer this week headed a planning meeting held at the St. Joseph's Convent Secondary School. The planning session not only discussed the blended learning approach since the closure of schools due to COVID, but also explored ways to improve overall student performance. Dr. Meyer says that the session was informed by data collection, evidence-based, from the 8 education districts on island. A focal point was student access to the devices. Dr. Meyer says while some districts are doing well, there are some disparities which the Ministry of Education is addressing. Already, an additional 6,000 Learn books have been procured for distribution to students. We go to our clip from Dr. Fiona Philip Meyer.
Ensuring that we had the learning inventories, what exactly is happening with regards to online learning, with regards to distributed learning in the various districts was the objective of that meeting. And so we are pleased that we can continue that collaboration throughout the island to ensure the best interest of our students, which is their learning at this crucial time. We are reaching some students very well, whereas there are others, and the statistics that we looked at earlier this week spoke to that. For us, we know definitely which areas are lacking in terms of technological devices, in terms of internet access, connectivity. And so that data is meant to really highlight where the gaps are.
The education officials are also concerned about the psychosocial state of the students and parents.
The psychological impact is something we must take very, very seriously. And I'm working very closely with our head of counseling. We have counselors in all of the districts that are continuing to work with our students. But we also encourage our parents, because our students are with them, they're your children, to listen to them, to engage them, to find time to speak with them. We have no doubt that it's a difficult time for parents as well. Many of them have gone back to work. Caregivers may not always be in the household. There are lots of issues impacting us. But we know that if we do our bits together, and we encourage parents, if your child is having a particular issue at home that you need help with, reach out. And similarly, we want to continue that collaboration between the home and the school so that no child who needs that psychological and emotional help is left behind.
Was a Chief Education Officer, Dr. Fiona Philip Meyer. I just want to remind you that we are awaiting the commencement. We're in downtown Castries, Parliament Building to be exact, awaiting the commencement of the parliamentary sitting, the House of Assembly, today, Tuesday, the 24th of November, 2020. We do have papers to be laid by several government ministers, including the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service, the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labour, and the Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industry, Enterprise Development and Consumer Affairs, and the Honorable Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries, Physical Planning, Natural Resources and Cooperatives. Motions also down for consideration. They include the authorization by Parliament for the Attorney General to make an order to declare that the 2017 supplement to the revised edition of the Laws of St. Lucia, as specified by such an order, as specified in the order, shall come into force on such date as may be appointed by such order as an authoritative version of the law. Also, that Parliament authorizes the Minister of Finance to obtain financing from the Export-Import, that's the Exim Bank of Taiwan, for the purpose of financing the COVID-19 response project. The following bills are down for consideration: the Public Finance Management Bill, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, and the Credit Reporting Bill. And they will be going through their second reading in this sitting today. We also have a sitting of the Senate that is scheduled for Thursday later this week, November 26th, 2020, at 10 a.m. in keeping with the protocols established by the authorities for the management of the coronavirus COVID-19 crisis with a view to ensuring that there are established protocols. We do have members of the public not being allowed in the chamber gallery during these sittings, and kindly note that the public can view the live proceedings. You can watch on NTN, that is the National Television Network, channel 122, the Government of St. Lucia Facebook page, and our YouTube channel following the parliamentary proceedings today. So do stay tuned. I now take you back to studio. We're just minutes away from the scheduled commencement of today's, well, we're actually right on the dot with it. It's 10 a.m. right now. So I'm going to take you back to studio as we await the start of today's parliamentary proceedings. Jessie Leon signing off for now.